today's lesson video on topic 4 is going to cover 2 examples of word problems with rational numbers. So please update your table of contents first. And then we're going to look at the 3 strategies I've listed at the top of the note sheet. So first, I recommend drawing a sketch and putting some labels in order to represent the situation. A sketch will help you better visualize whether or not you need to add or subtract. So that is the second strategy. And then the thing you need to think about last is the answer positive or negative? And now that you're a 7th grader, you need to make sure you add the negative sign when necessary. So example 1 is, suppose city W is 75.3 miles east of city X. City Y is 98.7 miles east of city X. How far apart are city W and city Y? So drawing a sketch, we have city X, and then it says city W is 75.3 miles east. East is to the right, so city W is there at 75.3 miles. And then city Y is 98.7 miles east. So it's also east of city X, so I drew it below. And then we're supposed to find how far apart city W and city Y are. So that's figuring out the distance right there. So we have our values. We can see that there's overlap here. So this distance is 98.7. This distance is 75.3. So this plus what equals 98.7. Therefore, we are going to be subtracting these 2 values to figure out the missing piece. And then we have to think about, is it a positive or a negative 23.4 miles? Well, distance is always a positive. Negative will tell us direction, but the actual distance is positive. So here's the pre-written notes. I have added in a north, south, east, west symbol, and I do recommend you highlight some of these values that match the word problem. For example, you could highlight 75.3 miles and then highlight that segment here, and the 98.7 miles highlighting that segment. You'd want to highlight subtract, and probably highlight distance is always positive. Example 2, in his garden, Bilbo plants a seed 3 3/4 inches below the ground. After several months, a plant has grown a total of 13.5 inches. How many inches is the plant above ground? So a sketch is going to be helpful here. So we have the ground, which is 0, and then the plant is 3 3/4 inches below the ground. So that's a negative 3 3/4. And then from where it's planted, the seed grows 13.5 inches tall. So we're trying to find the distance that the plant is above ground. So therefore we have this overlap happening right here. So we have 13.5 and a negative 3 3/4, or 13.5 minus 3 3/4. So we have to find a common denominator. We have 2/4, and this one is already 3/4. Now, to take away 3 from 2, it's too small. So one of the methods we can do is we can borrow from the 13, borrow 1 whole and change that to a 12. The 1 whole would be equal to 4/4. I did that because I need a common denominator. So we're going to have 6/4 minus 3/4, which is 3/4. And now we can subtract our whole numbers. 12 minus 3 is 9. So it means that this plant is 9 3/4 inches above ground. Now, if that method did not make sense to you, I am going to show you the traditional method next. So traditional method is change this number to improper, change the other number to improper, and now we need a common denominator. So we're going to need to change this one into fourths. 2 times 2 is 4. 27 times 2 is 54. This one stays the same because it's already fourths. And then we are subtracting. 54 minus 15 is 39/4. 4 goes into 39 9 times with 3 left over. So we get our answer of 9 3/4 inches again. And I did the traditional method on your notes page here. This arrow is pointing because some of the notes pages, it only says 3.5 instead of 13.5 because the copier cut off the 1. And I would once again recommend you highlight this value that matches the below ground value, and then this value representing the total growth from the seed to above ground. And it's a positive because that's a distance above ground. And that's it for today's lesson.